In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, hello everybody, how are you doing? Good, we're doing great by the mercy and grace of Almighty Allah. My name's NA Saqib. I'm your Usman IELTS trainer. Additionally, we're also teaching the students of spoken English for the last 20 years at the platform of Genius Institute, Lahore. Dear friends, my today's lecture will be about speaking subtest of the IELTS and about its basic general introduction, or you may call it an overview. So let's get started. As far as speaking subtest of the IELTS is concerned, it is the shortest of all 4 modules. For example, reading continues for an hour, and the time span of writing is also an hour. Listening continues for 40 minutes, whereas speaking continues for 12 to 15 minutes only. That's it. So it's the shortest of all the 4 modules. Here, actually, the speaking is also divided in 3 parts: part 1, part 2, and part 3. As far as the part 1 is concerned, it's further split in 3 sections. Section 1 is all about yourself, about the introductions of yourself, your family, or your hometown, your work, or your study. Section 2 and 3, actually there are 2 more supplementary topics. The topics are very easy peasy. They are everyday topics actually, and very easy to prepare. The topics are like hometown, work, study, food, and free time. The duration of this section would be 5 minutes approximately, and the major tense which is used in responding part 1 questions would be present tense. It's all the present forms. It doesn't mean you can't use the other tenses, past and future. You can involve these tenses where it is needed. As far as the part 2 of speaking subtest is concerned, actually, you have to speak for almost 2 minutes without stopping. Kind of monologue, a non-stop monologue. You will be given a topic the examiner will provide you with, and part 2, as I told you, is a monologue where the examiner will hand you over a task card or a cue card, and you will be given a paper and pencil to prepare your notes in 1 minute. You will be given 1 minute only, 60 seconds to prepare your notes. You can prepare, the bullet points which are given in the task card. They can be prepared in 1 minute. How you have to answer. Now it's a session of brainstorming. You've got to be very much careful about your time. Time is only 1 minute, and you have to prepare your notes in that minute. Part 2 actually focuses on the past tense, and which means that you would be doing most of your talking in past tense. But again, it doesn't mean that you can't use the other tenses. You can use present and future where they seem appropriate. The total duration of this part will be 3 to 4 minutes, not more than that. So I will give you some sample topics. Number 1, describe an interesting hobby, pastime, or free time activity. Number 2, describe a thing which is important to you. And number 3, describe an important historic place. So these could be possibly the topics of part 2. I just gave you some examples. As far as part 3 is concerned, it's a session of discussion now, or it is a kind of dialogue once again, where you are expected to predict, guess, analyze, which means it's linguistically a bit more demanding. It's analytical and a bit thoughtful. So you need to use more complex language. When it comes to using language, it means that you must use the variety of grammar structures and a big or a wide range of vocabulary. Now, here, the candidate and examiner discuss some topics related to the topic you spoke about in part 2. Actually, part 3 is connected with part 2's topic. The questions will be asked by the examiner. The time span or the time limit for this part is 3 to 4 minutes. And part 3 actually focuses on the future mainly. So the candidate will use future tenses, and they can also use the models like auxiliary models like can, could, may, might. It all depends. But once again, it doesn't mean that the candidate will be bound to use only the future tense. He may relate some of the examples with the past and present where it seems to be appropriate. Actually, in this all speaking subtest, you have to convince the examiner, and you must convince that you know very good language and you know about the best of structures. You've got a wide range of vocabulary. And I always recommend my students quite strongly that they must use the best of their language. I mean, the language they have learned throughout their life. They must use the best structures, the best possible vocabulary, which is appropriate regarding the topics. Actually, the speaking test is conducted with one examiner and one candidate, as you know. The first part is a kind of dialogue, second part is a monologue, and the third part actually is once again a dialogue, a kind of discussion. The speaking test will be recorded. Now, it's none of your worries. The recording will not be for you. You mustn't feel confused about recording. Recording actually, it is to test the examiner and not you at all. The examiner will also be actually examined somewhere. So it's not for the candidate. He mustn't feel confused and worried about it. It's none of his business. Now, the types of questions can come in IELTS. Speaking tests are very general in nature and will not be overly personal. It means that the topics about religion and politics will not be involved, and they would avoid the contentious subjects like politics and religion, as a matter of fact. Now, as far as examiners are concerned, actually, let's talk a little bit about them. They are professional educationists. They've got plenty of experience of conducting the IELTS examination, so they understand the test is difficult, and they will be patient with the candidate or the test taker and will do their best to make sure that they feel relaxed. So that's important. What is the question types, or what's the nature of the question types? All the questions will be open questions rather than the closed questions. Now, what is this open question and closed question? An open question actually focuses, or rather asks you to give an extended answer. You can build up your answer by speaking plenty of sentences on it. And so you have an opportunity to show how good you are in speaking English. Whereas the closed question, as a matter of fact, is the one that can be answered by a single word or two words. It doesn't have the capacity to be talked about more than one or two words. So the questions will be asked would be open questions, not the closed questions. Last but not the least, actually, what is the examiner's criterion of assessment? There are 4 areas which examiner will be testing you on. Number 1, fluency, pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary. All these 4 pillars are extremely important because they've got the 25% of the test band scores. I mean, you've got 9 in each module. So in speaking, 9 will be granted on the pillars of these 4. Each carries 25% of the band score here. So you must be careful about your preparation first. If you're well prepared, you'll be responding in a fantastic manners. I wish you all the very best of luck, the future students of IELTS, and I always recommend them to prepare very good before appearing for the examination. I'll see you with lots of other videos on speaking subtest of the IELTS on my YouTube channel, Genius Institute Lahore. Please subscribe it and watch the wonderful videos on different other topics. I'll see you. Best of luck. God bless you all. Bye-bye.